Glory to God, we are back. Welcome back to Dallas Sports. I am your host, Sammy HT, and today I will be giving you guys my 5 expectations for the Miami Heat this season. Now, I get it, this video is coming way too late. The NBA season does debut tonight, but better late than never because the Miami Heat season does start tomorrow. So technically, I'm still on time. So, not too much on that. So yeah, with that being said, I'm very excited to give you guys my opinion on the Miami Heat and what I will be expecting from them this upcoming season. So with that, let's go ahead and get started with expectation number 1. The Miami Heat are projected to win 38 games according to ESPN with a 35% chance to make the playoffs. Now, this is completely fair. If you read this from ESPN, they're saying that their concern is that Tyler Hero is going to be out from mid to late November, and that's a lot of offense that's not going to be on the court. Where is that offense really going to be coming from? Very fair assessment. I will rebuttal by saying we traded for somebody who can score, maybe not as good as Tyler Hero, but will definitely be a great replacement in the time being. Not so much for the playmaking, but just exclusively for scoring. So yeah, 38 wins to me seems fair for now, given the thought of the injury. However, my expectation is that we shatter that completely. I expect the Miami Heat to win over 43 games this year. This is a weak Eastern Conference. And since it's a weak Eastern Conference, I see no reason for the Miami Heat, with a team led by Bam Adebayo, by Tyler Hero, and one of the best head coaches in the entire NBA, who's going to be coaching Team USA nowadays. Congrats on that, Spo. I don't think it's unfair to say, hey, you know what? They're going to turn it around. And last year, yeah, it happened, but it's not going to happen this year. So with that being said, yes, I'm expecting the Miami Heat to be a lot better than last year, and I expect them to be a top 6 seed. I don't expect playing this year. If this team is a playing team again, it might be time for Pat Riley to completely hang it up, because that's not the expectation that the Miami Heat should have heading into the season. Expectation number 2. If you look at these statistics right here, the Miami Heat were 24th in points per game. They were 20th in offensive rating, and they were 27th in pace. Now, in my opinion, I don't think that every single one of these is going to improve too significantly, particularly offensive rating. However, I do think that the Miami Heat have established early in the preseason that they are going to be playing a different style of offense, which includes a higher pace, which hopefully includes more points scored. I don't know if the offensive rating will shoot up from that, but I'm hoping it does, because my expectation number 2 is that we are top 20 in all 3 of those categories this year. It's 2025, Erik Spoelstra, and the fact that we still haven't had a consistently good offense yet in pretty much all the Jimmy Butler years and last year as well, I think speaks to the fact that we are behind. We are behind offensively, and it showed. It showed last year against Cleveland. It showed the year before that against Boston. So overall, I think that all 3 of those phases of the offensive side of the ball need to go up, and I think they will go up. Now, that's going to be difficult with Tyler Hero being out, because Tyler Hero is a big part of the offense. But that leads me to expectation number 3, and that is Bam Adebayo. It's no secret that last year Bam Adebayo had a relatively underwhelming year. Now, points-wise, it isn't a crazy drop because he went from 19 to 18, but really, it's the field goal percentage drop. He went from 52% to 48%, and 48% is his lowest since his rookie year. As a matter of fact, that is a career low for Bam Adebayo. Now, that does not necessarily mean that he did not develop something this year. He developed a 3-point shot, which I think is relatively important. He decided to take close to 3 shots a game last year and shot 35%. I will 1000% take that, especially if he's going to be playing the 4. I decided to do some research as to why Bam Adebayo was even struggling in the first place, and I found out it's a combination of 2 things. First thing, look at his shot frequency at the rim over here. He only shot 27% of his shots at the rim. And in my opinion, being Bam Adebayo, being 6'10", being that strong, to me, unacceptable. Now, I do understand that some of that has to do with the fact that he was trying to develop a three-point shot. And believe me when I say I want him to still develop it. But I also don't want Bam Adebayo to completely forget who he is and how big he actually is. If he has a mismatch with a smaller guy, I don't want him taking a mid-range shot over him. I want him going to the basket. That's just logically what he should do. Unless there is a defender inside, I don't think it's necessary for Bam to be taking pull-up jump shots over guys like, say, I don't know, Jaylen Brown. I don't want you shooting a midi over Jaylen Brown at that point. I want you to attack the rim at that point. Now, you'll notice that his mid-range frequency also dipped down about 6%. It went from 61% to 55%. Again, that can total to the fact that he's shooting more three-pointers. But a second reason why he had a relatively off year, his short mid-range game dropped by 7%. Now, albeit his short mid was always around the 45, 47, 46s. But in 2024 in particular, he shot 50% from those short mid-range shots. So beginning of last year, we all expected him to just get right back at that track and then develop a three-point shot in the process. And that just did not happen. His three-point shot percentage went up, but he regressed in the mid-range. So that brings me to expectation number 3. I expect Bam Adebayo to be an all-star this year, and I expect him to bounce back from what was a disappointing last year. Especially with Tyler Hero out, I expect the offensive load to be heavily on Bam. I don't want Norman Powell to be our leading scorer. I want it to be Bam Adebayo. If that means dropping some of the defensive load to the young guy, Kel'el Ware, I'm 1,000% for that. But if you can be our defensive anchor and be an elite offensive player, there's realistically no reason Bam Adebayo shouldn't be averaging over 20 points every single year. That is my expectation given the fact that he has gotten a three-point shot now. He's a pretty good mid-range shooter. He's strong enough to attack the basket at an elite rate. So yeah, Bam Adebayo is going to be an all-star this year, and I will be surprised. I'll be very surprised if he isn't. Expectation number 4 is going to come from the young blood, Nikola Jovic. Now last year he averaged about 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists, but he did miss pretty much half the year. He played 46 games and he started only 10. My expectation for Jovic, I expect him to be top 5 in MIP voting, most improved player. I'll be honest, after they gave him the contract, my expectations kind of skyrocketed for Nikola Jovic. I don't know if it's fair to do that or not, but after thinking about it long enough, is it not okay to give expectations to a player going into year 4 and that he makes the leap? Because let's be very blunt, some Heat fans were kind of skeptical of the fact that we gave Nikola Jovic his extension, given the fact that he really hasn't proven that he's deserved it. Now, I get it. Some people might say, oh, he's too young. Why would you give up on him so early? I've seen guys younger than him show more flashes. And because of that, I was a little skeptical of giving Nikola Jovic his contract. However, given what I saw in the preseason, I expect him to be a big part of the offense. I think he's going to be a big reason why our pace shoots up. And him being out last year actually really hurt our pace. So if he's healthy, I expect him to at least average 15 points, at least average 4 rebounds, and at least average up to about 4 or 5 assists. I don't think it's crazy to say that at all. Now, I don't think it's unfair to have these expectations for Jovic whatsoever, because these are the expectations that Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra have of Nikola Jovic. So if I get frustrated with Nikola Jovic halfway through the year because he hasn't shown true production, you can't tell me to give him time. You can't tell me to, be patient with him. No, you guys extended him. I expect him to produce. So yeah, I love Jovic, dude. I hope he really excels. I think he's going to be a big part of our offense. I fully expect him to be in the starting lineup, which leads me to my 5th expectation and final expectation. I fully expect the Miami Heat to dive into the Ware, Bam, Jovic starting lineup at the end of the season. Now, I don't know if this means Wiggins is traded or sent to the bench, but overall, I just think that it is essential for Jovic, given the contract extension he just got, given how well he fits with Kel'el Ware and Bam Adebayo, given how his play style bounces off of them so unbelievably well. In my opinion, he should be a small forward. And if that involves trading away Andrew Wiggins or benching him, I think Spoelstra should 1000% do it. Now, the starting lineup right now shows Davion Mitchell, Norman Powell, Andrew Wiggins, Bam Adebayo, Kel'el Ware. I'll be honest, not a lot of playmaking on that starting five. That's something we're going to miss from Tyler Hero. But if you look at the second guy in the depth chart, Kasper Jakob, I think he's going to get a lot more playing time than a lot of people think, given the fact that he's a rookie, and throughout the preseason, he showed some incredible flashes. So those are my 5 expectations. Now, with all this being said, do I have the Heat making a deep playoff run? I'll be blunt, no, I do not. I want to reiterate that this team did not significantly get better. They just did not. I understand they brought in Norman Powell, and that's a good upgrade. But overall, that's not the pop that we really need to be a contending team. Now, there are a lot of X factors that could completely change things. Like if Andrew Wiggins returns back to his Golden State form. If Davion Mitchell can continue his hot shooting from last year. If Norman Powell can be the Norman Powell of last year. If we get the leaps from Kel'el Ware, the leaps from Nikola Jovic. If Bam Adebayo returns to all-star form. If Tyler Hero is still an all-star. Then maybe, just maybe, we can compete with the contenders of the East, that being Cleveland and New York. And also some sleeper teams like Atlanta and Orlando. But I'll be completely blunt here. The evidence that we have seen, Bam Adebayo being the best player on a team doesn't spell winning. And the same thing can be said about Tyler Hero. I think the roster that the Miami Heat have right now is just way too good, way too talented to not be a playoff team, especially given the fact that we have an all-time great coach on our team. However, I would say that it's fair to assume that we are around the same sphere as the Hawks, the Magic, and those teams, and teams like that. But then there's that, and then there's a gap to New York and a gap to Cleveland. There is a gap. I mean, that's just a reality. So yeah, I expect a solid year. I wouldn't be surprised if we make it to the second round, but man, a lot will have to go right for us to make an Eastern Conference Finals appearance. It's hard for me to envision that. But nonetheless, I'll be drinking the Kool-Aid. Once again, Pat Riley, you got me hooked. I'm very excited for this season, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait for tomorrow night. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. I'm going to be posting content every single day on this channel. And with that being said, this has been Sammy Hot Takes, and I will see you guys next time. Dale.